So I'm here today to talk about alternatives to jealousy, alternatives to being jealous of a woman, alternatives of being a hater, and how you can turn your jealousy into a win. So the way to do this is to take away the emotion in it. Jealousy is a low vibration. It is an emotion. It is an aspect of you. And tap into your logic. Tap into, and hopefully you have this part of you, the go-getter, the logician, the person that collects all the data, the person that collects all the facts, the person that's studious. Go to that aspect of yourself, okay? Go to that aspect and then look at that person and study them. Study their moves, and you're in such a great era where, maybe back in the day, if you were jealous of a woman, you wouldn't be able to pick her brain. You wouldn't be able to tell how she got there. You wouldn't be able to take the same steps that she took because there was no one to tell you except her. But right now you're in the digital age. And one thing I can say, even though I hated this aspect of Atlanta, I feel like the Black women here are very much crabs in the bucket, and they are not self-assured, so they're insecure, and because of their insecurities, they are very stingy with their knowledge. But across the board, Black women are giving the game away. Whatever you want to learn how to be a Black vegan, Black women are giving the game away. If you want to learn how to be a sugar baby, Black women are giving the game away. If you want to learn how to have a healthy interracial relationship, Black women are giving the game away. If you want to learn how to be a boss bitch, how to be independent, how to be a CEO, Black women are giving the game away. And so instead of being jealous, instead of being a hater, instead of tapping into that aspect of yourself, tap into the logician, tap into the fact checker, the studious one, tap into her and study. This also has to do with the confidence thing. I'm going to tell you how I became more confident. I became more confident by making a promise to myself and keeping it. By making a promise to myself and keeping it. Okay? And so everyone else in life, perhaps they're going to drop you, expect them to drop you. Perhaps they're going to fuck you over, expect them to fuck you over. Perhaps they're going to lie to you, expect them to lie to you. But when it comes down to the relationship you have with yourself, when it comes down to the relationship you have with yourself, you got to have your back. You got to know that when shit goes down, you're going to come through for yourself. And the only way you can know that is by practicing. So make a promise, keep it. Make a promise, keep it. And give yourself credit. Every time you make a promise and you keep it, acknowledge that, hey, I told you I was going to do that and I did that, didn't I? And point it out to the other aspects of you, because you got that low self-esteem, you got that low vibrational aspect of you, got that jealous aspect of you. Point out every time that you made a promise to yourself and kept it. And then also use logic, because for me, I had low self-esteem, but I was able to dig myself out of my low self-esteem through logic. I was able to look at my actions. I was able to look at my beauty. I was able to look at my value, and I was able to assess logically the value of this person. If I was not this girl and I was evaluating her based on the facts, I would say that she should have been more confident because of her value. So I stepped outside of myself. I looked at myself logically, And I said, whoa, here's the value. And then what I did is I said, you know what? Hey, since you don't believe your own value right now, since you don't see your own value right now, I'm going to show you how valuable you are. And instead of listening to all these other people and performing and doing well and being great and being excellent and giving them all of your pearls, I want you to come back and give it to yourself. I want to make a promise to you and I want to keep it. And when I keep it, you have to agree that when I continue to keep these promises to you, you will begin to see yourself the way I see you. And so I made that pact with myself. I said, every time you keep a promise from me, I'm going to be more confident in you, because I had been hurt by so many other people who'd let me down and lied, including myself, because I was listening to them, because I didn't have good self-esteem. I said, okay, everyone else has let you down, but every time that I keep a promise to you, you have to be more confident. And I kept my promise. I made a promise. I kept the promise. If I said I was going to do something, I did it. If I said I was going to do something, I did it. And if I said I wasn't going to do something, I didn't do it. And I kept doing it over and over again. I kept a promise. I made a promise. 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 I kept a promise. And I got to see that the vast majority of people not only would lie to me about the promises, they would make a promise and fall through. They were doing that to themselves. Because when you make a promise to yourself and you keep it, you begin to transform your life. But I cannot expect people who were not transforming themselves, who were not changing, who were not becoming a greater, who were not becoming self-masters. I cannot expect them to keep their promises to me if they weren't keeping the promises to themselves. They would say, oh, I'm going to lose weight. They didn't lose the weight. Oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to launch this business. They never launched the business. Oh, I'm going to let him go. Girl, this is the last time he's going to disrespect me. This is the last time he's going to disrespect me. I'm going to leave him. It's 10 years later. They ain't never left. And so what I realized is most people were not keeping promises to themselves. And if they were not keeping promises to themselves, how could I expect them to keep a promise to me? So what I did is I looked at the evidence. I made promises. I kept my promises. And I looked at my track record and I said, hey, you've got a pretty great track record. I think I need to put my faith in you. I'm looking at your track record and I'm seeing that, wow, you made a promise and you kept a promise, and you did it 100 times, and then you did it 200 times, and then you did it 1,000 times, and wow. And other people still haven't come through on their promises to you, but somehow you make me a promise and you keep that promise. And that is when I became self-confident. That is when I became self-confident. Because I was witnessing my own power. I was witnessing my own power. But a lot of people, they don't do that. And then they don't have confidence, and then they just become jealous because they don't activate the power within. When you activate the power within, you realize that you can do anything, because you start, it's like everything in this life is like, they need your belief. These religions need your belief. The government needs your belief. They need your energy. When you bring that belief back inside and you internalize that belief, you realize that you can be God. You can be creator of self. You can be master of self. You can begin to manipulate and turn the reality under your gaze and under your manipulation and under your control. And there's no reason to feel jealous of anybody else, because anybody else that has something you want, you can call forth. You can create. You can work hard. You can manifest. And so there's no need to be jealous. There's no need to be envious, because you are God of your life. You are the ruler of your own life. You are your alpha and your omega. And because you're your alpha and your omega, anything you want in your reality, you can produce. And you know you can produce it because you kept making promises and keeping them. And you started to witness the power that you had. You started to witness that you could write something or you could say something and it would come forth. 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 And so it wasn't about looking outside. You know, I felt like for a long time, I was looking to someone to save me. I was looking for someone to save me. And yes, there were so many resources that I found that were helpful in digging me out. And, you know, videos and books that changed my life, but no one saved me. I was able to take what they were saying and implement it. That's all. But a lot of people, they don't do the implementation. They get the resources, they attend the seminars, they go do all of that, and they go through all of that shit only to not follow through. But if you can cultivate and practice that follow through, I make a promise to myself, I keep a promise. I make a promise to myself, I keep it. If you can activate that follow through, you will be so confident. You will be so confident in who you are. You will know your power, and it will not be based on delusion, because again, you have that evidence, you have that track record, and that track record has shown you time and time and time and time and time and time and time again how powerful you are, because you not only made the promise, but you kept the promise. That's it.